class together before the exams. On Tuesday, they will, on Mondays, your classes on Mondays and Wednesdays, will be having a talk by an Indonesian guest. So he's coming during your class time. I'd appreciate it if you were to go to At-Tabari. I will give you the poster, right? With regards to this, we have a poster on it. So it is about Islamic IMC in tourism. But of course, how it affects you is that how it's relevant to you is the copywriting bit, right? So for you to do copywriting, there's a lot of writing when it comes to promotions, isn't it, right? So for you to come up with copywriting, you need to understand the concept of Islamic advertising. Now, this one is more to tourism, more to tourism. And I've put the poster in here because why? Because Aceh has decided to invest money in tourism. And I've been to Aceh. It's not, of course, like a developed nation. It doesn't look as developed as the US, as the UK, and other countries, but it has its charms. It is good, I suppose, for ecotourism purposes, right? And of course, as you know, the tsunami happened in Aceh. So they have this tsunami museum in Aceh, which I visited, and they use that quite a bit to promote to their tourists. And a lot of Malaysian tourists go there. So you will see that from this campaign, this tourism campaign, that Aceh are very much into, they will come up with promotional materials, isn't it? Yeah. So this is how it affects corporate writing, in the sense that, of course, we do brochures, we do newsletters, we do flyers, we do all sorts of promotional materials to promote anything, really, isn't it? So in this case, it's tourism. Yeah. So Islamic IMC in tourism. And this is my friend, Dr. Nizam, who'd like to share with you on his research. And I have presented in Aceh before, and he wants to invite me again this year. Inshallah, yeah, probably we'll go visit again. So it's there are 11 guests from University Shah Kuala. So let's see how it goes, and I hope that you could attend it for class, yeah, and also, listen to the narrative, listen to the discussion. Perhaps we could write a guideline, isn't it, yeah, on Islamic IMC for Malaysia and Indonesia, because Aceh is also is very Sharia compliant. It's a very Sharia compliant place, right? It's got hudud laws. So you can see that it's a very Islamic place. So it's a good place to discuss on Islamic advertising, Islamic IMC. That's the best thing. And of course, we are the IIUM with, Islam in our name. Hence, we are very much into the Islamic perspective. And the rector has said that Tawheed should be, uh, you know, basically providing us with that kind of direction. Right? So, and they've signed an MOU, with IIUM recently, last year. So the rectors of both universities are very much into collaborations. So this is one of the activities. Okay. And you are going to be guests as well in this seminar. It's free of charge, and you can come and listen to us. And of course, this will affect promotional writings and so forth. So you need to understand the concept and the target audience from the perspective of Indonesia, perhaps, right? I mean, understand that the target audience plays a role in coming up with promotional materials. So what kind of target audiences or target markets will be interested to go to Indonesia? That's also very interesting. And what sort of target markets will be interested to come to Malaysia, and what sort of promotional materials can we produce as a result of understanding the target market and target audiences? So it's really interesting. So let's see how it goes on Monday. Yeah? So Monday we have that last face-to-face class, and then on Wednesday I'm going to do a consultation on Wednesday during class time online. So you could just come in and Yeah, talk to me about your assignments and so forth. So I will tell you what to focus on for the exam as well. Yeah, after this. Now, let me talk about the first topic that I'd like to cover on. Okay, so here it is on newsletters, leaflets, handouts, infographics, fact sheets, backgrounders, position papers, and situational papers. Right. Newsletters are usually scheduled communication sent through email. So there are particular platforms. There are like companies that facilitate you to send out newsletters through email, right? We're more interested in the content, of course, that delivers tailored, curated content, right? So it's about gathering content together and they're sent to subscribers' inboxes. Now, this type of communication includes news, updates, promotions, user generated content like peer reviews or any other valuable and relevant resources. So, newsletter keeps your audience informed and engaged, builds relationships, and drives action. So, now we talk about the email newsletter, isn't it? Right? There's no one size fits all type of newsletter. So, but most of them have sections that seem to be repeated. Yeah. So, you have blog post roundups. So, many businesses share the most recent blogs through their newsletters to drive traffic to their website. Yeah. And then you have upcoming events that you can tell people through a newsletter, and usually they have respondez s'il vous plaît kind of replies, isn't it? RSVPs, which means that you need to reply. Okay, they'll give you a due date, like you're supposed to reply whether you'll be coming or not before whatever date. So do respect those dates. That's really important for them, yeah, so that they can count the number of people who are coming to the events. They can order food. So you wouldn't know the effect of that until you plan an event and you organize an event and apa tu, you order food. Yeah, we don't want wastages to happen, right? Wastages to happen. We don't want wastage to happen. So it's a problem when you don't reply. A new level brings it to a whole new level and grow awareness around the experience. Now you could also feature customer stories. Yeah, they show that your business is going well and that you value your customers while nurturing current relationships. You can position yourself as a thought leader or expert on a matter. You give away free knowledge about something in relation to your products. You can provide interviews, knowledge curation, yeah, just gather knowledge from different places, but cite them, or useful tips which have the same purpose of building thought leadership. So it's all about you presenting this brand or organization that's very thoughtful, isn't it? Yeah. When you write a newsletter, you've got to think about we spoke about defining target audiences, isn't it? And goals. So before you dive into email newsletter creation, you need to ask yourselves, are you speaking to potential customers, existing clients, or an industry peer group? So who are you talking to? What are the main interests of the people you're trying to reach? What are their day-to-day jobs, functions, and occupations? You need to plan your newsletter content strategy. You need to build a consistent content plan. You need to use content pillars. What are content pillars? They are key themes that align with your brand and your audience's interests. So they could be educational resources like industry news and trends or expert tips and market insights. They could be sales offers, yeah, promotional content, product or service launches, case studies and testimonials. They could be company or personal updates and announcements like customer success stories, event highlights, and invitations. So they could be centered on many different themes, isn't it, right? Many key themes. Yeah, I would think that, like as you can see before, they could have many different sections with many different information. Yeah, with a lot of different information. Writing engaging email subject lines, because it's an email form, you've got to make sure that you grab people's attention and encourage engagement. through the subject lines that are attractive. So subject lines are often the only shot you have to capture attention. 47% of email recipients open emails based on the subject line alone, right? You need to create valuable and engaging content. 90% valuable and 10% promotional. Yeah, promotion. People skip ads for a reason. No one wants to be sold stuff. That's just how it is. So by providing them with education content, it would be better. Yeah. So what should you include? Share practical tips, step-by-step guides, insider info that your readers can actually use. This approach will make people look forward to your emails instead of hitting delete or even share it with their peers, which means more potential subscribers. You can have your calls to action, right? So you want a CTA that tells the audience what to do next, whether you should be reading the full article, downloading the guide, signing up for the webinar. What is it? Design with simplicity. When designing a newsletter, simplicity is your best friend. A clean, easy to read design means your message will come across clearly and keep your readers engaged without overwhelming them. Yeah, so you need to keep the design simple. Stick to one or two fonts. Don't have too many types of fonts, right? Use white space strategically. You help to break up, yeah, sections and makes your content easier to read. You keep paragraphs short. It will help users scroll through without feeling like they're starting at a wall of they're staring at a wall of text. You can use bolds and bolding and bullet points, yeah, to make the content easy to read, right? Mobile optimization, you need to ensure that it can be designed for the smartphone so that on a smartphone it's simpler, isn't it? Yeah, remember we looked through, we were in a forum recently, yeah, with Datin Paduka mentioning that to she uses ChatGPT to simplify information for mobile, yeah, for the mobile version, isn't it? Right? So she would basically simplify longish kind of writings so that they could be simplified for online media, isn't it? Right? Use images wisely. Images should break up text, not clutter it. Choose images that support your message and add value rather than filler. Now, when you talk about mobile optimization, it should really be you providing your IT person with the information. You shouldn't be really dealing with the IT bit unless of course, because usually it's the IT person who manages, yeah, the websites, the mobile versions and so forth. Yeah, they are the experts on that. So we provide the content. So use images wisely. Yeah, do not clutter it. Choose images that support your message and add value rather than filler. Yeah, they add value rather than just making it look pretty, right? Just filling in the white spaces. Yeah, there must be some kind of purpose to your images. You can do an internal test. You can send it to your friend, isn't it? And look for errors. You can send it internally to your department, right? Just to see whether people can open, yeah, the messages, they can read them, and to see whether people have seen any errors. Sometimes you're so close to the messages that you can't see the errors, isn't it? Yeah, whether it's been properly formatted. Have people commented on the format? Yeah, they feel that it's not properly, it hasn't been properly formatted. So you want to ensure that if you add links, people can click on them and access something. So these are the things that you need to check for. Yeah, subject line. Does it grab attention and align with the content? Links, make sure that they work. Images, can they load properly? Yeah. And can they be opened on different devices? So this is where your IT person comes in and needs to help out on this matter. Formatting, yeah, for desktop, mobile, isn't it? Grammar and spelling. Even minor mistakes can impact professionalism. So double check everything. Okay. Test your email marketing campaigns. You can have two versions of newsletters, version A and B, to different segments of your audience to determine which one performs better based on data, not assumptions. So here are a few things you can A/B test. You can test different tones, emojis, action words to increase open rates. Yeah, so that you test to see whether people open the email or not. You can try different colors for call to action, for buttons, placements, or text to see what gets more clicks. You need to compare long form content with a more concise version to see what keeps your audience engaged. So there could be a longish form, isn't it, of content that is more elaborate, and then a more concise, a shorter version to see which version keeps your audience more engaged, right? So you can have different versions and test them. You can wait for feedback, look at how much of sales was achieved, right? Any emails of feedback, right? uh, is there anything that needs to be improved upon, right? Are the messages effective? If it were a promotional message, did anybody buy anything as a result of it? Yeah. So did anybody compliment, right, your messages? Did anybody unsubscribe? So things like that. Okay, leaflets are usually one page, two sides, sometimes one side. So you can use Canva for this. You can see that it's very bold. Yeah, in the example, huge fonts for the headline and subheadline, isn't it right? Nice, pleasant to look at. Yeah, choose images, text, and colors carefully. So this is something that we wish we had. Sometimes they're called flyers, isn't it right? We wish we had this during the Gombak Food Festival, because what happened was it was a little bit hard to convince the car boot sellers on what we were doing, because they couldn't really hold anything. Yeah, we've been, you see, that's the whole thing. We've been focusing so much on the digital aspect of promotions, like we kind of forgotten. Well, we had a banner, but we had two banners, the and we had buntings, and other than that, we didn't have printed copies of leaflets. Yeah, so we could have we could have used those to convince people to come and visit our stalls, yeah, our booth. So that could have helped in a way, because it was a little bit hard to, first of all, we didn't know their email addresses, we didn't know their WhatsApps. They're just people who are there, isn't it right? We wouldn't know them. And so we had to go out. And although, I mean, Asal Gombak gave our e-poster, right, but we didn't know them personally, isn't it right? They're just basically members of the public, really. So what happened was we could have gone further and approached them with some kind of handout, some kind of leaflet in this case. Handouts. Now, handouts are like the handouts that we give during presentations or at the end of presentations, before presentations, like what I usually do. Sometimes I take photos, isn't it, of my handouts. Sometimes I used to give hard copies, but nowadays it seems to be easier to give soft copies of handouts. And you can have it in the form of a PDF. You can even have it in the form of an image, isn't it right? A JPEG. You can have it in the form of links for people to click. So make sure they're accessible and clear. Okay, they can be seen clearly. So that's something that you've got now. Or hard copy. Yeah, hard copy would be good if you were doing a training session, and then you wouldn't have everybody's handphone numbers, for example. It would be hard. You're not in a WhatsApp group. You can't give them any handouts through WhatsApp. So what happens is you need to have hard copies, isn't it right? Infographics is about simplifying complex information. You can do it in the form of a visual, isn't it? And you can use Canva. You can use Canva for a lot of things: the flyers, the brochures, the newsletters, whatever. Do not oversimplify this information, though. Right? Do not make it too simple to the extent that the details are left out. Yeah. So you've got to be like choosing the right details to put in and make sure that it's clear. Yeah. Fact sheets can also be used. Now, a fact sheet is a short, typed or handwritten document that contains the most relevant information about a particular subject in the least amount of space. The goal is to provide facts and key points about a topic in a clear, concise, and easy to understand way. So let's see this. So we have 15 examples of fact sheets in the. Can you see this? I wonder. Yeah, we have top 15 examples of fact sheets. and I can, once I give you the slides, you can actually click on them. So template one page company fact sheet example. So this is like an example lah. For fact sheet, one page company fact sheet example, and then your expertise, clientele. So this is basically your financial performance, all on one page. It's like a flyer which has information, facts about your company. So there are many examples that you can see. So it's very infographic-like as well, isn't it, right? You're simplifying content and something that you could design as well using Canva, and it's very nice. You can see that the poster, the e-poster I gave you just now, somebody else did it. Usually what happens is somebody does it and I correct it. So I corrected it to make sure that it's okay, yeah, it's okay. So these are examples which are very interesting, yeah, to see the examples. Okay. Right. A backgrounder is an in-depth informational piece providing, as the name implies, background information on a specific issue, and they often accompany press releases and provide additional information not found in the press releases. They're usually written in narrative style, yeah, like a story somewhat, yeah, like not bulleted, but like an article that can be longer than a media release, sometimes 3 to 4 pages. Good idea to use the 5 W's: what, when, where, why, who, and how, to help you work out what you need to say. You can provide information about the evolution of something, the current relevance of something, isn't it? Yeah. So this is something that you can, it's basically a company's press releases. So you give it together with the press release and it provides more information, additional information that you focused on in the press release. Yeah, position papers can be used in government or conferences. And if you look at this link, it has that, yeah, it says position paper, and this is a conference, and it's got several discussions, several topics that it like you to, yeah, then we publish it like you to write on and present on. Yeah, and then this is the format, and this would be the additional requirements, and then you have submission deadline. So this is, wow, this was yesterday. Yeah, this is a new thing, and it would be reviewed, right? So very interesting, right? It could be reviewed. I'm thinking that it could be accepted or rejected even. So usually companies would have position papers to convey their stance on something. Yeah, it could be in government, it could be basically also in conferences, it could be in different places that require you to write a position paper. What's your position on something, right? Situational papers, yeah, is basically adaptive writing befitting the context, meaning to say that if it's an email that's supposed to be written in a particular context, then you write it for that particular context, right, and so forth. So it's basically adaptive writing. It's not really something that people use as much, situational papers. From what I see, there's a lot more on position papers rather than situational papers. Situational papers are usually linked to situational essays, which means that there are different forms of writing for different situations. That's basically what it means. Okay, so that is one of the important things that I wanted to cover. Next, I would like to talk about um, okay, so let me show you a newsletter. Now, this newsletter was something that I got through my email. Yeah, through my email, through my Yahoo mail, my very old email. As you can see, it was from Malaysia Airlines, and I think, I think this was, yeah, 2024. So this was just before the Christmas break and the New Year break, isn't it? Celebrate the season. So they have this picture on top, and they have Dear Mrs. Ida, and then they want me to book and travel from now until 31st, and then I can click here, and there are terms and conditions, and then there are more pictures, and then there is this code, and then I can get some percentage off. So there's this is a news, they call it a newsletter. This is the type of newsletters you get through email. And yeah, more promotional in nature. So you can see their pictures, and it's very interactive and very interesting. And I can also unsubscribe, right, if I don't want to get any more. So I've subscribed to Malaysia Airlines. As you can see, newsletter here. Yeah. And see the I would think this is a subject. Yeah. Mrs. Ida unwrapped the gift of amazing flight details. Yeah. So that's an example. A more hard copy version would be what we are used to see as well, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, we used to have newsletters quite a bit previously when I was working in corporate com, and this has, sorry, where was I? Okay, it's probably here. Yep. Yeah, as you can see, this is a newsletter, EPCC newsletter. So this is more of like a PDF version. Yeah, I would think that they print this as well. They probably print some versions, advice, and then you have on the right, you have this is a contents page, I would think, our organization, and you have articles, right? So this would be an example of a full newsletter. So you can see it's got like 3 columns in some places, 2 columns in other places, on other pages, depending on how much detail you want to include, right? Okay, so it's basically 3 columns, but of course they've merged some places in it, right? To make like one uh, a larger column, yeah, and a smaller, a thinner column, slimmer column there. Okay, so that is what an example of a newsletter looks like a one that would normally be printed. It's more of a traditional newsletter. Okay, so how do you write annual reports, isn't it, right? How do you write annual reports? Um, What is an annual report? To write an annual report, the business operations and the financial positions are listed, summarized, and recorded. Usually there's like a template for this. Yeah. So the annual report is a financial document that businesses provide to shareholders, potential investors, and analysts. And it is the best source of information about the business performance and financial well-being of a business. So we have annual reports for profit organizations. IIUM also has an annual report. It's considered as a profit organization because it's a company, isn't it? Yeah, although it's an IPTA, it's been we get the bulk of our money from the government, but it is it's registered as a company. Nestle, PepsiCo, non-profit Mercy Malaysia, yeah, they have annual reports which you can see. Chairman's letter, usually business profile, management discussion, analysis, financial analysis. So you have the chairman's letter or the chairperson's letter, right? Annual report starts with the introduction and a letter from the chairman, primary owner, or the CEO of the company to the shareholders, a snapshot of significant developments in the past year, company initiatives, and a brief summary of finances. Challenges faced by the business, its structure, and insights into the growth of the company, followed by a table of contents. You could have the business profile. We talk about the mission and vision statement of the company, details of directors, officers, investor profile, products or services that are the main source of revenue for the business, competitor profile, risk factors of the business, management discussion and analysis, overview of the business performance over the past 3 years, and discusses profit margins, sales, and income. If the business has launched a new product or service, or there are drastic shifts in sales and marketing efforts, they should be included in this section. And other topics of discussion include new hires, business acquisitions, and other information that the management thinks would be beneficial for the stakeholders. Yeah. Financial statements should also be included, yeah, so that current and future investors, shareholders, employees, and other business stakeholders can determine how well the company has performed in the past, its ability to pay off its debts, and its plans for growth. So the statements included are balance sheet, cash flow statement, income statement, statement to shareholders. So these are the main four components. Other components you could have, you could add, nobody says you can't. Stories, infographics, photographs, disclaimers about forecasted income and expenses, comments by auditors, notes on accounts. Yes, you do need your accountant to come into the picture. Determine the key message, finalize structure and content, use compelling format, plan in advance. Yeah. So determine the key message. It's the perfect opportunity to highlight your accomplishments and the impact of these accomplishments. Yeah. You want to decide what to include and what to leave out. So it's important to map out the content and the structure of the report. You need to come up with a well-designed report that is engaging, professional, that can be used as a marketing tool by a business, yeah, so that readers could scan through the document and get the information they need. You need to plan in advance because you need an organized system for recording, tracking data. It's a long-term process, right? Media clipping, photographs, and a list of business achievements. So you need to gather all of that, right? For that's been done for the year, isn't it? Yeah? Provides the opportunity to highlight companies' key achievements, expectations for the coming year, and overall goals and objectives. Gives information on the company's financial position, introduces the key members of the business to stakeholders and the general public, tells shareholders and employees the company's strategy for growth in the coming year, useful as a decision-making tool for managers, and keeps your critical business information up to date. A failure by public companies to update the investors and the state might result in late fees or even dissolution of your company. So uh, you've got to update investors if you were a public company. Yeah, so can't be you could be fined as well. You have the IIM annual report. Yeah, I remember I also looked at the annual report at that time. There was also the prospectus. There were lots of things you had to look at. There's just a lot of writing. So this was the content page of one of the annual reports. Yeah. So usually we just carry on. We just update, right? Who the deans change sometimes, directors change sometimes. Board of Governors (BOGs) sometimes change. Of course, University Management Committee also changes. Logo, maybe there's something new, maybe not. We have the song. We have other information that we've got to update, isn't it, with regards to student staff. So things need updating, and usually we follow what we've done before. So usually that's the case, yeah. Mercy Malaysia annual report is also something that I put a link here on it. I didn't, so we've got to Google it, right? I saw it was a good example, which that is interesting and something that you can look at and use as an example, isn't it, right? So whether it has, so it's got it on Instagram as well. It's focused, which is interesting, isn't it? Yeah. So you can see here that it's got the annual report put on, sorry, this thing is in the way, isn't it? 2023 put some information on it, right? So this is how it looks like. There's one here, but it's a 2016 version of an annual report. Hope you can see this. So this is a 2016 version, and you can see this picture here and contents, right? The format of it, it's like it's a very nice looking, right? So this is an example of it and a report, yeah. Okay, let's see Malaysia. Right. And then in conclusion, it advertises your organization. So it's important to write it well so that you get a good brand reputation. That's the whole idea. I mean, that's the chance for you to write something on yourselves, isn't it? On your organization. So why not? It's a way of promoting yourselves. So why not? Let's look at how to write CSR reports. Now, CSR reports are a little bit tricky in the sense that they could be renamed or overtaken by ESG reports, right? Or they could be used together with ESG reports. So let's look at the development of CSR reports. ACMIS et al. Defines CSR as the engagement of corporations, which are integral constituents of society related to their obligations in compliance with ethical issues, right? So we talk about the fact that corporations are obligated to serve the communities and society, and they need to be ethical. That's what it means, right? So according to World Business Council for Sustainable Development definition, CSR is a continuing commitment by businesses to behave ethically and contribute to economic development while improving the quality of life of the workforce and their families, as well as of the local community and the society at large, right? And the society at large. So this is something that they also they do. Basically, the whole idea of behaving ethically is treated like a person, isn't it? Yeah, business. I mean, it's a business. How could it behave ethically, isn't it? It's you're talking about behaving like a person. So a business would have to behave ethically and contribute to economic development, but at the same time, they need to improve the quality of life of their people, the internal stakeholders, and their families. That's why they have Family Day, as well as the local community and society at large. That's why we went to Kampung Kedas. That's our obligation, really, isn't it? To do community engagement, to do CSR. So we need to help. It's the whole idea is helping the community, right? And there's nothing wrong with that, right? There's nothing wrong with that. And the thing is, it's good to communicate about it. It's not a matter of showing off, but it's a matter of saying, look, I've been to this kampung and I have done CSR, isn't it, right? I have done CSR, and basically you need to communicate what sort of activities you've done, so that you build your brand reputation, you make people like you build positive, favorable public opinion towards your organization, so that your organization doesn't look like it's unethical, it is selfish, it is merely profit making. So CSR is a concept according to organizations that generally on a voluntary basis pursues a policy which takes into account social, environmental, and local business in some places. So in Malaysia, it is compulsory for listed companies that sell shares according to the Malaysian Stock Exchange or Bursa to declare their CSR activities in their annual reports, right? Whether it's a separate CSR activity report or within their annual report, yeah, so they must declare their CSR activities in their annual reports. So, in order to protect interests of all stakeholders, there is a need for a company to report their social responsibility. It will enhance public confidence and give better image and reputation for the companies. And the Malaysian government-linked companies, whose majority shares are owned by the government, also need to report and disclose their CSR to obtain such benefits, right? So a CSR event proudly organized by CSR Malaysia publications, so it's a CSR awards, isn't it? Yeah? Publications to honor outstanding corporations in Malaysia that have excelled in the role of change agents in the socio-economic transformation of Malaysia. CSR Malaysia endeavors to promote sustainable economies and to serve the needy by featuring CSR initiatives of corporations in Malaysia. So you have even awards for that. Yeah. Yayasan Petronas is the CSR arm of Petronas, and its mission is to contribute to the well-being of society. So they aim to deliver sustainable impact, improving the quality of life and socio-economic outcomes for communities across the nation. Yeah, so you also have something called the Global Reporting Initiative Standard, which is a tool supporting the reporting process in organizations. It creates a common language for all organizations to report on their sustainability impacts in a consistent and credible way. And this enhances global comparability and enables organizations to be transparent and accountable. Okay, so you can adopt this, you don't have to adopt this. It's up to your organization, it's up to the expectations of your stakeholders. It's you have to see whether it's a requirement, right? And things like that. But if the whole idea is being global, isn't it? You see that global comparability. You want to be viewed in the same way as another organization out there in the world. That's why I I was telling my IMC students, when we talk about getting the village entrepreneurs to beef up their standards, isn't it? To bring up their standards. We talked about halal certification last night, and we had we were talking about Dr. Husna was talking about cleanliness. You see, cleanliness in itself is part of what they look at when they monitor with regards to the halal certification. Yeah, they give you halal certification. They also look at the cleanliness of your premise. Now, cleanliness in itself would make you come bring yourselves up to this global standard of acceptability, isn't it? Right? Not only is an Islamic thing, but is also globally acceptable. It's universally acceptable to have a clean kitchen in your restaurant, isn't it? Right? To have a clean abattoir, isn't it? Right? To have a clean restaurant. So it's you need to have this, and when you go for halal certification, there's that standard you have to meet, and it will be monitored. It'll be monitored, right? Or you will get into trouble. This enhances the fact that you have reached global standards. Yeah, it will encourage you, and it's for your own good, so that you get more customers. This one we have to work on with regards to Kampung Kedas entrepreneurs, because I don't see them getting it yet. I mean, it's voluntary. Halal certification is voluntary, but it's for their own good. I know it's a lot of paperwork, and it would take up to, like Dr. Hosnam was saying, 4 months to get it processed and the application processed, and for you to get your halal certification. But I would think that it depends on the size of the company, of the restaurant, of the kitchen, and whatever the business, and things like that. So there must be some. Maybe that's the worst case scenario, 4 months. Yeah, but it's worth it because, like she said, it gains people's trust. That's what you want. CSR reports go by many names: sustainability reports, environmental reports, health and safety reports, community affairs reports, yeah, and many more. And the reporting of CSR uses different terms: CSR reporting, sustainability reporting, or ESG reporting. Yeah, CSR report according to the CSR report guide, isn't it right? Now, Vexlerova, cited in Murachikova et al., mentions CSR report should contain the following main topics: business context, the placement company into a context which it is in business in, yeah. The context in which it is in business in contributes to correct understanding of CSR report. So, what is the context of it? The commitment of top management and the company corporate profile are noted mainly. The commitment of senior management, word of the director, definition of CSR, business coherence, summary report, goals for the next year. Corporate profile, general information, financial results, human resources, right? You could have this. Management of social responsibility. Successful achievement of CSR goals depends on the chosen strategies, corporate governance, effectiveness, and level of stakeholders' involvement. Corporate governance. Governance is a system of rules, practices, and processes by which a company is directed and controlled. Transparency and all stakeholders taken into consideration by those in power. Strategy. CSR is a part of business strategy. Yeah. So it's the strategies, the corporate governance, effectiveness, and the level of stakeholders' involvement that you have to outline, isn't it right? What's the strategy you've used? And the corporate governance, your organizational structure, there must be some kind of transparency, right? Personnel responsibilities, CSR management, description of the management system used in the context of CSR, and then a description of the steps to the involvement of stakeholders, right? Cross-sector cooperation, information on business partnerships with non-commercial entities. So you've got to be very transparent about this. Company performance, the essence of the report is a description of company corporate performance in CSR. Company provides quantitative and qualitative information on the impacts of processes, company products and services in the market, working environment, local communities, and the environment. Creation of the report, so the company performance, quantitative, qualitative, right? Creation of the report, scope of the report, methodology, Yeah, verification, list of indicators, feedback, additional information. So the CSR report could be on its own, and you could also incorporate it in an annual report. Yeah, and of course, this all depends on your office, what they require you to include, isn't it? Right? So this is something that you need to look at. It could also be like a, I suppose, a summarized version in the annual report, and then a full version in a separate CSR report. Yeah, you could also, that would be a good idea to do. Reports published by organizations vary; they differ in character. Yeah, they can encompass various areas of activities and business activities, and the most common types of reports being developed by organizations are those including aspects of social community, philanthropy, integrated annual financial and non-financial, sustainability, environment or social, economic, corporate responsibility, environment, health, safety, community, environmental and social, environment, health and safety, environment, and others. Yeah, according to the companies individually, it really depends how they want to report, right? What is doable in within the budget and the parameters that they have. Do they need to report their CSR activities to another organization? What do they require? Yeah, what is doable, isn't it? Yeah, what is doable really? So usually we go for CSR budgets, yeah, isn't it? Yeah, even IIUM Daya Bersih apparently has a CSR budget. So when we talk about, let's say, OKU and PWDs and their toilets, we can invite Diabersih to contribute money on the basis of CSR to construct a toilet for PWDs, for example. Yeah, so that's something that's very charitable. Yeah, so there are different aspects. So it depends, like I said, on the authorities. That if you have to report your CSR activities to an authority, you have to ask what is it that you require, right? What are the parameters? And of course, within the parameters, what is doable? Okay, you can't compare your CSR budget if you're a small company to Coca-Cola's CSR budget, isn't it? Right? You can't compare it in that way because they have a lot more money. So you can't really. Right, you have to really compare apples with apples. CSR, according to the online course, Sustainability Business Strategy, corporate social responsibility is the idea that a business has a responsibility to the society and environment in which it operates, and many businesses strive to be socially responsible, use the triple bottom line, an organization's impact on people and the planet, in addition to its profits, to determine the strategic priorities. So, a CSR report is an internal and external facing document companies use to communicate CSR efforts and their impact on the environment and community. And an organization's CSR efforts can fall into four categories: environmental, ethical, philanthropic, and economic. Yeah, so there are four categories, and I've provided. There's more information here, yeah, according to the Harvard Business, yeah, medium, Harvard Business Review. What is the difference between CSR and ESG? So this is whole idea of ESG, isn't it, right? So there has been an increasing focus on corporate sustainability and reporting. And the question often asked is, what is the difference between CSR and ESG? You can see that some of my friends' children are doing degrees in ESG. ESG is really something that seems to be trendy. Eh? There are different frameworks that companies use to assess sustainability. In short, CSR may be used as an internal framework, while ESG provides a measure of assessment for investors. So it could be argued that ESG is currently overtaking CSR as a measure of sustainability in the corporate world. That's also something, yeah. CSR focuses on corporate volunteering, lowering carbon footprint, engaging with charities. ESG provides a more quantitative measure of sustainability. It considers environmental, social, and governance factors. ESG improves the valuation of the business. CSR helps inform others about the values and goals of the business. To incorporate CSR, think about the culture of the business. To incorporate ESG, conduct audits and set measurable goals. So it's more quantitative, and then CSR is more qualitative, right? about the values and goals. What are the values of the business, of the corporate values, the business values, isn't it? The ideals. What are the goals? So the goals and the values should really go in tandem, isn't it, right? And then you have volunteering, lowering carbon footprint, engaging with charities as being part of CSR. But ESG is, and it's more quantitative. ESG is more quantitative, but why not we include ESG in a qualitative manner as CSR reports? Why not, isn't it, right? So it stands for environment, social, and governance. Rating agencies can round up performance in these areas as a score, similar to CSR, but more measurable. ESG, so we have rating agencies that can help quantify, yeah, your performance with regards to all of these three components. ESG improves the valuation of the business and more capital becomes available. Investors can use ESG as a measure of how sustainable the company is. So the pandemic has increased awareness of such practices. Without such practices in place, it is likely to become more challenging to maintain corporate reputation and financial success in the future. Since ESG is more quantifiable, this may win out as a more popular measure. Can we include ESG in a qualitative manner? CSR reports? Why not? I don't see why not, right? ESG is a set of standards for how a company operates in regard to the planet and its people. So when we talk about environmental criteria, it may include a company's energy use, the waste and pollution it creates, how it conserves natural resources, and the way it treats animals. Social criteria examine the company's business relationships. Does the company have a high regard for employee health and safety? Does the company allocate a percentage of its profits to its local community? Do company employees engage in volunteer work? Are other stakeholders' interests taken into account? Yeah, governance. Investors look at a company's ESG. We want to see that it is accurate and transparent in its accounting and reporting methods. Investors will also look at how a company treats its shareholders and their right to vote on important issues. And investors will seek assurances that the company does engage in illegal practices and avoids conflicts of interest when it chooses its members. So you can adapt somehow this ESG, yes, as a standard of how a company operates in regard to the planet and its people, to the idea of CSR, isn't it, right? But of course, we talk about, yeah, because it talks about lowering carbon footprint. So I don't see how the environment can come in, isn't it? Engaging with charities, so it's more on a social level, isn't it, right? Corporate volunteering, more of a social level, yeah. And you can, why not? Yeah, why not focus on CSR as being, and ESG is somehow ESG being used in CSR, but of course adapted to the main CSR umbrella, isn't it? Yeah, in a more qualitative manner. So, in conclusion, observation of changes in global trends in application and use of the CSR reporting allow to infer that the development of societies will be based on CSR principles, and societies expect that companies will take into account their needs and expectations. They expect respect for their fundamental needs, though not everywhere, not for all, ethic and moral laws, as also taking actions on a large scale in social and ecological areas, taking into account all interested parties. So that is basically what we mean, yeah, by CSR, isn't it, right? And of course, when we talk about lowering the carbon footprint, yeah, you've got to think into CSR. So, can we use all of the ESG components, or should we only use some of the ESG components? So, this is something that I'd like you to think about, isn't it, right? With regards to ESG and CSR, they have been shown to be different things, but you know, perhaps ESG could be embedded in CSR, right? In a qualitative manner, yeah. Although it's been used in a quantitative manner, but why not use it as a in a qualitative manner? So it's something that we also can look at, yeah. Now, when we speak about this, is also something that we can use Canva, yeah, for making brochures, isn't it? Yeah, making brochures. So brochures, what are they? Small foldable documents. Now you may say we don't need printed brochures. After coming up with several exhibitions and having the Gombak Food Festival, we realized that brochures are very useful. Yeah, they're commonly used to promote organizations, products, events. Brochures attract attention through eye-catching design, and brochures must contain clear, concise, focused writing because they are short, right? So, what are the objectives? You want to attract attention, provide information, promote a product or service to a larger target audience while motivating them to take action, to remind existing customers about your business or to attract new customers. Have a longer shelf life than other marketing materials, are often designed to last 1 or more years, right? They have a longer shelf life. They're usually on better paper, yeah, sometimes glossy paper. They're thicker than a flyer usually, so they would have a longer shelf life. Yeah, requires significant time for planning and development, often expected to accomplish multiple tasks as they can be presented to many different audiences with different needs to get customers excited about your products or services. They can take it home, isn't it? But you also have electronic brochures. Yes, and no paper there. You have printed brochures. It would be useful to have printed brochures. So, functional strategies upon designing the brochure. You have the primary benefit. What is the primary purpose of your brochure? What's the primary benefit? What unique benefit can you offer customers through your products? Yeah, a secondary benefit. What are the key benefits will customers receive from your products or services? So, what's the main purpose? What's the unique benefit? And what are the key benefits? Isn't it right? I think I may have exchanged primary benefit, primary purpose there. So, target audience. To whom, isn't it? What target audience are you aiming this brochure for? Again, the whole idea of target market, target audience. Audience reaction, what response do you want from your audience? Company personality, what image do you want to convey in your brochure? Yeah. The tighter the writing, the easier it is to understand and the greater its impact. So be succinct, be concise, be specific. Use a few words to mean a lot, right? So don't be like don't elaborate too much because you can imagine there's a very tiny, there's not much space on a brochure. Get personal, keep a single focus, be conversational, be original, use news, use magic phrases, yeah, use variety, use imaginative description, tell a story. You can include descriptions of your business, descriptions of your products or services, contact information, yeah, hours of operation, special events or seasonal calendar, directions or map, visual elements, yeah. So these could all be incorporated. So words in all capital letters lose their shape. Please do not use all caps. For effect is okay, but some people may think that you're shouting at them. Yeah, Times New Roman is a highly legible typeface. It can be read easily, so it's a good typeface to use. Arial is even a better font for quick reading because it is a sans serif font. It doesn't have tails. Yeah, it's roundish, isn't it? Arial. Yeah. Usually for business writing, we use Times New Roman. Maybe for something more creative, we use Arial because it's a bit roundish, isn't it? And it's a bit more aesthetic. Italics can be difficult to read and should be used sparingly. Yeah, italics difficult to read. Do not mix too many different type styles, as we said just now, around one or two, isn't it? Right? Not more than that. Components of a brochure, headline, you talk about, yeah, you can get people's attention. Consumer benefits, top third of front panel brochure, statement, questions, warning, news alert. Yeah, it depends what sort of headline you want to include, isn't it? Right? Subheading, answer or support to question, curiosity brought up by headline and draws readers in to create interest. Body copy, descriptive text creates visual image of products, use action words. So highlight product features, yeah. So the body copy seems to be the desire and action put together. Highlight product features, key benefits, supporting facts, keep paragraph short, limit 2 to 3 sentences. Talk to one person, use words you and your while avoiding we, they, and unclear generalities. Signature, business name, logo, contact information. You can have address, phone number, website, address, back panel, brochure. Illustrations, not necessary but useful for pulling attention, photos, drawings, and so forth. Show product in use better, not static product in use. So you're using it, you're showing the product while it's being used, isn't it? Not static, not just the product on its own. Use captions, disclosures, terms or conditions, fine print, warranties, incentives, financial terms, and so forth. So you could have many components of a brochure, yeah, depending, of course, what is it that you want to achieve. Yeah, divide your brochure into thirds, horizontally and vertically. Areas where the lines cross are excellent points on your page for information, for important visual elements such as a headline or image. Use the other lines to line up body copy, graphics, or other page elements as needed. Note that a trifold design automatically incorporates the rule of thirds, but it is still possible to crowd the space putting too much content along the fold, so that use the horizontal lines to aid with important graphical elements. Yeah. So we'll see the pictures of this. Use a maximum of 3 different font sizes. Here we have the font sizes 3, a maximum of 3. The size of the font is measured in points, which simply refer to the font's height. And the heading text should be twice as large as the copy text, and the subheading should be halfway between. For example, in a brochure, set the headlines font size to 24, subheadings 18, copy text 12. Yeah. Do not use smaller than 10, as it could be unreadable. Upper and lowercase typefaces have been shown to make headlines more readable. Do not mix too many type styles, such as words in all capitals, italics, boldface, or underline. Overuse of these styles will de-emphasize the message. Yeah, so you have typography, uppercase, lowercase, right? And this is how it would look like trifold, folded into 3 parts. Yeah, inside front cover, inside middle panel, inside back flap, outside back flap, outside middle panel, outside front cover. So outside front cover, you want to gain attention, you have the headline, okay, business name, logo, other key information. Visual elements, photographs, illustrations, yeah, but it should not overshadow your message, should not be too much, right? Inside front cover include a brief synopsis of information about business, product, or service. Focus on customer benefits. Use bulleted list so you can see inside front cover. Yeah. So outside front cover. The other side of this would be the inside front cover. Okay. Inside middle panel and inside back flap. So you have number 3 and number 4. So as you open inside, this is what you lay. This is how you lay it out. You have the 2, 3, 4 inside. This would be the outside of it. So here you have expand and customer benefits, products and services. You summarize on inside front cover. Include detailed information, contact information, website address, special events, map. Use brief statements and bulleted lists. Include visual elements. Outside back flap, generally the second panel viewed by the reader. Summarize most important information for a quick reference: days and hours of operation, pricing, phone number, website, favorable location. Outside middle panel, yeah, number 6 here, right? So business logo, website address, direct mailer, use space for customer address, return address. Yeah, you use it as a direct mailer. So you want to put, you're selling it, sending it, mailing it, isn't it? Yeah. So you put there the customer address because you're sending it like that, and put space for a return address, yeah, over there as well if you need it to be returned in some way. If using as a direct handout, map, or directions, you can put it there. Yeah, so brochures can be an effective marketing tool when time is taken to carefully develop a proper strategy. Special attention should be given to the layout and other design considerations. When done correctly, a brochure's front page will grab a reader's attention by appealing to their needs. Focusing on the benefits will persuade them to open the brochure for further investigation. Communicating your company's unique advantage will motivate readers to take action, thus resulting in communication objective being met. So it's important to get it right, isn't it? Right? It's not something that, yeah, you can do without thinking. You do need to plan. Yeah, you do need to plan it, and of course your flyers and your brochures should really go together. Your newsletter, there should be this single color, isn't it, going through. You need to have the single color going through. Now when we talk about media kits, isn't it, right? So you have here media kits in pink. So media kits, a press kit is a more traditional term. describing materials for the press or journalists. This includes press releases, images, background information, and contact details. A media kit is a more modern term that describes materials for a different audience, usually bloggers, influencers, content creators, and others. Right? So sometimes you say press kit and media kit to mean the same thing. It depends on the practitioner, it depends on the scholar. Both solve the same problem. You want to offer relevant information to people who may be willing to talk about and promote a brand, event, person, or something else. So usually when you have a press kit, you put in there press releases, images of your organization or events, background information, contact details, so that the press will be, and usually it's given during a press conference, at a press conference, so that the press can take it and use it for to cover your story, isn't it, right? So it depends. I mean, you want to give it during the press conference. We've made press kits when we invite the media to our events. We also have that. And usually our events, when I was in corporate com, some of the events would have press conferences. So we would automatically have these in mind with the press conference in mind, right? So media kit is apparently for a different audience, like for other people that could be bloggers, influencers, and whatever, and whomever. And you want them to also talk about you. So they're like the press as well, isn't it? Right? They're like, people you're interested to earn publicity, isn't it? You want to earn their coverage of your event, of your products, things like that. Yeah. Okay, so this is an interesting website that I found, which you get access to, and it says, how do you prepare a media kit? Choose a format for your media kit. There are two main choices: to host it on your website. You can also have a media kit on your website, or to create a PDF file. Can you imagine? Yeah, you can also do that. You could also, of course, have the printed version, isn't it? Yeah. You could have the digital version. So there are many versions nowadays with digital media, artificial intelligence. There's just so many different versions of everything. Write a short company overview. Include the most important information: when the company was found, who the founders are, and the most important milestones. Gather your media assets, logos, photos, testimonials, fact sheets, case studies, media mentions, product images, a short bio of the founder, anything that a member of the press might find useful for their next piece. And put it on your website, right? And this is something that you could do. So you could keep your media kit online. Can you imagine? This is how things have changed, right? um, it's very interesting how you could. The other way is, of course, to create a PDF, but this is not something you can distribute on your website and through email. But the thing is, they're difficult to edit. And when you send them out, they're gone, isn't it? They're just sent out and you have to keep sending new PDFs. So if you were to park your media kit online on your website, you can update it easily. You can update it easily, right? So this is something that in the old days it was sent out by mail. Now the digital press kit is accepted format, and it makes things easier for everyone. So you see, digital it is, right? This is a 2024 article, so this is very up to date, and very interesting. Very interesting how things have advanced, isn't it, right? So this is basically on media kits, right? So when we talk about monitoring, isn't it, monitoring the media, and we do need to monitor the media. There are even companies you can hire to monitor. I remember when I was in corporate com, we used to have a company. We used to hire this company, and then suddenly we dropped the company. I think because it was just too much. They were just too expensive. They would monitor the media about the IIUM, and then we would get information. So it's important to monitor the media, especially in this day and age where information just goes out there very quickly, isn't it, right? It's very difficult to track. You want to know what people are writing about you, isn't it? How people are covering your organization, because there you've got your reputation. Yeah, you've got your reputation at stake. So you've got to monitor that so that people would you can address the problems if there were any problems, isn't it, right? And so this is important for you to do media monitoring, whether you get a person in your organization to deal with the to manage the media monitoring, or you hire an outside company to do it, right? But whatever it is, you've got to know. So you will see, like in OCAP, at the moment it's called OCAP. I was working corporate com, yeah, previously before I changed to OCAP. It is changed from PRO to corporate com to OCAP. So the thing is, but it's basically the same office. Although some restructuring has happened, it used to have, like we when I was working, we did not have marketing there, but we did do marketing, but we had a separate marketing office, and then it was merged, right? It's been merged. It was merged, and then the latest info seems to be that there's a separate director for marketing, so it seems to have been independent again, made independent again. So marketing is more, well, the thing is should be more concerned about the products, the programs themselves, how they're packaged, the pricing, right? The place of distribution, okay, and you have, of course, the promotion, and it has some kind of strategies that the marketing office usually thinks about, but the conducting the campaign kind of thing would be done by the corporate com people or the OCAP people. They would usually conduct the campaign and uh, conduct a full-blown campaign, whereas the strategy is thought at the marketing level. Yeah, you could have that. I remember when I was talking to Prof. Khalid, he was in charge of marketing, the marketing office at that time. He was talking about looking at bill to put IIUM on billboards in the airport, for example. And then the perception, he was talking about the perception of people towards the IIUM. That at that time it was more in terms of perception of people, meaning to say that they viewed the IIM as, not, there was a time when it was not that favorable. There was this linkage to terrorism. So, as in, it was like a place, I don't think I should say it because, but yeah, it was not perceived well. Yeah. So, but of course, it's not true. Yeah, it's not true. We are a very moderate organization, university, and what people say about our organization, their public opinion matters. Yeah, matters. So you need to address them. So the whole idea of having this whole concept of wasatiyah being, yeah, the main thing, isn't it, right? Wasatiyah is important, isn't it? Yeah, moderation. Yeah, applications that we have a book, isn't it, called the Applications of Wasatiyah. We used to have the Institute of Wasatiyah. I'm wondering what's happened to it. Institute of Wasatiyah. Yeah, Wasatiyah Institute. So that makes us look very mm, moderate, isn't it? Right. That's Institute Wasatiyah. We have the Institute Wasatiyah Malaysia, but what's happened to the Institute Wasatiyah of IIUM? Because remember we had this. Seems to have disappeared. Yeah, the Institute of Wasatiyah IIUM, because there's a lot of restructuring and whatnot. So we tend to, during my time, we had the Institute of Wasatiyah. I remember because the former rector, Professor Zaliha, she was associated with the notion of Wasatiyah, and it's very attractive. I did the copywriting for an advertisement we put in a magazine that was read by Harvard scholars, Harvard lecturers, and one of the Harvard professors contacted Prof. Zaliha and said, I saw your advertisement, yeah, and she was associated with Wasatiyah. We used to have the Institute of Wasatiyah at that time. So it was communicating that the IIUM is very much moderate. Yeah, so perhaps it was addressing this public opinion on, you know, on something that indicates that the university is not moderate. Yeah, so that's why we need to have these institutes, and we need to have the narrative that communicates about the moderate aspect of the university. So we need to manage issues online, and we need to handle digital communication. As you can see, there's so much of digital communication that happens, and there are challenges of the internet with regards to fake news. So there's a lot of fact checking, there's a lot of you making sure that everything is accurate, isn't it? Right? Everything's accurate, everything's good. You making sure that the media get the information they need, so you can have, press kits, you have media kits for others, and so forth. So it's a lot of things, yeah. And the thing is, it's a lot of things that we can communicate about, lots of ways in which we can communicate about our organization. And because we need to keep formal communication going and official, right? Because if not, there could be informal communication, and there would be a lot of talk, isn't it? Right? If we don't have satisfying, gratifying formal communication, then informal communication would be the outcome of that, isn't it? Right? And people tend to speculate and assume, and that's not what we want. We want the formal communication to be clear, isn't it? Right? But of course, people have an opinion about any organization. That's also one thing. And so monitoring the internet is something that we need to do every day. In actual fact, you need to do this every day and highlight. So you will see that OCAP, for example, will highlight the main news stories that have been covered by the media on the IIUM, isn't it, right? On the IIUM, so that we know that, this is how we're covered by the media. And 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 if it's unfavorable, of course, we want to address those issues. Is it? We want to address those issues. Or the other way is, of course, there is the idea that we keep quiet about it. Yeah, we keep quiet about it until talk about it dies down. Sometimes things happen, but you want to keep quiet about it because you don't want people to talk about it. Yeah, maybe people don't even know. Yeah, people don't even know about on something, and if we were to highlight it, then people will know. Yeah, so we might as well solve the problem internally rather than make it an external thing, isn't it? External, um, publish it externally, yeah, from talk about it externally. So that's for some organizations, they're not really into that. Yeah, they're not really into that. Okay, are there any questions? Any questions? No? Right, so I'll leave it here since I've covered everything. Okay. Okay, Mas. Yes.
Yes, Assalamualaikum, Doctor. Sorry,
Yes, sir.
the attendance link,
Cannot.
I
You,
cannot access it.
you can access it. Can okay.
Yes.
For some reason, this morning, the attendance link. Wait, somebody's WhatsApp me something important. Okay, so what happens is, okay, I think I'll come up with a new one. I don't know what's happened, but this morning the attendance link, it doesn't have the document. For some reason it goes into the document Google Doc. It's supposed to be a form that goes into the Google Doc, and then it comes out as a Google Doc. I have no idea what's happened to Google this morning. It's really weird because I did the attendance link last night. It was okay. This morning I tried it twice. It looks really strange. Let me do it again and see where I go. Maybe I have to change my email and do it from a different Gmail. I'm not sure what's happened. There's something wrong, yeah? There's something that's happened. Okay. So don't worry about that. All right? So I'll see you on Monday. Yeah? 10 to 11:30, we shall have a talk by Dr. Ahmad Nizam. He's a very nice guy, and he's from Aceh. And there are 11 of them from Aceh, from Shah Kuala, and he's into Islamic advertising, Islamic IMC, and of course that would be interesting in terms of promotional materials for tourism, isn't it? Yeah, for tourism. So that's how it is. Okay. All right. So let's end with Surah Al-Asr and Tasbih Far. Thank you so much for coming, guys. Really appreciate it. Okay.
Thank you, Doctor.
Okay.
Thank you, Doctor.
See you
Thank you,
on
Thank you,
teacher.
Doctor.
Friday.
Have a
Thank you,
nice
Bye.
day.
Thank you,
Bye. Have a
doctor.
good
Good day.
weekend. See you.